There. Yeah. All right. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for Introduction to Catchafire, in which we're going to learn how you can leverage a completely free capacity building platform on and beyond Give STL Day. So this meeting is being recorded, and the recording will be available for later viewing on the Give STL Day website. So please don't feel like you have to take frantic notes. My name is Emily Bauman. I'm the communications manager here at the St. Louis Community Foundation. I am joined by my wonderful colleagues, Nikki Martinez, our community investment officer, and Emily Seipel, our community investment associate, as well as Tyler Manley, the head of community engagement at Catchafire. Tyler has 15 years of experience in the nonprofit sector with a background as an AmeriCorps alum and former marketing director. Specializing in donor relations, digital marketing, and membership strategy, he advises thousands of nonprofits on maximizing their impact through strategic volunteer engagement. At Catchafire, Tyler leverages his experience to help organizations harness the talents of their supporters, elevating their missions in the process. So Tyler, thank you so much. I will let you take it from here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Emily. Isn't it always weird when someone else reads your bio and you have to like listen and make a face? It's always hard. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to walk you through kind of Catchafire, talk about your giving day, and talk about how you can actually use skills-based volunteers to get a lot of awesome things done for you in order for you to raise a lot more money this year, starting on May 9th, right? I'm really excited it's coming up. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Let me just go ahead and do that. There we go. See this. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Here we go. We just tested this. I swear it works. Here we go. There we go. All right. Okay, excited for all to be here. One thing I want to say is some housekeeping things. The first thing is any questions that you have as I go through this. I'm going to talk about things. I'm going to show a lot of things. Please feel free to just throw your questions in the chat. Okay, Emily is going to be collecting those questions. I'll be pausing throughout to answer them in real time, and then we'll have a lot of Q&A at the end. So don't hold back. It's why it's fun that you're here live. It's not a video, right? You can ask questions, you can engage, you can unmute and yell things and cheer if you'd like. It's pretty free form, so feel free to get involved and engage, okay? So I'll just quickly introduce myself. I know Emily already read my bio, so I won't go into years of experience and stuff. One thing I'll just share is that for a lot of times before I came to Catchafire, I was the marketing director of a food justice organization. And I share that because I was the marketing director, right? Which means I did everything, right? Marketing, I did events and fundraising and membership strategy and donor relations work. And, you know, I drove around a giant mobile farmers market to food deserts around the city. I wore a lot of hats at my organization, right? As I'm sure many of you do at your orgs. It is a very unique sector that we all work in, where we're all expected to know how to do everything, right? Web design and contracts and management and all of these pieces. And so I'm really hoping today I can kind of help you connect you with the right people to be able to support you in all those pieces so that you don't have to wear as many hats. My favorite nonprofit euphemism is we wear a lot of hats, right? Everybody's feeling that way. But I've been here at Catchafire for about, again, 10 years. I've been here a long time. And what I do in this role is consult nonprofit organizations of all shapes and sizes across cause areas all over the world about how to leverage the skills and talent of your supporters in order to elevate your missions. Okay. Now, this program, we've been partnering with Greater St. Louis and Missouri Foundation for a couple of years now. We've had a lot of success with that program. Again, in like the last couple of years, about $1.5 million in pro bono impact has been given to organizations like you in St. Louis, 7,000 hours donated, almost 500 total matches between volunteers on our site. We've been doing this a lot, right? But actually, Catchafire is even older than that. So Catchafire is about 14 years old. In that time, we've worked with tens of thousands of nonprofit organizations all over the world. And there's two big parts of our mission. The first one is to build capacity for nonprofit organizations, right? And that's probably something that we're all pretty familiar with on the line. We know there are things at our organizations that we wish we could be doing, or we know that we should be doing, but we're not because we lack the time or the skills or the resources to get those things done, right? It's a big part of what we're trying to solve, and it's a big part of what we're actually working on, okay? The second part of our mission, oh, sorry, can everyone just mute? I think I'm getting back. There we go, awesome. The second part of our mission is to provide meaningful volunteer experiences to professionals. So something that you may not be as aware of on the line is that there are actually millions of professionals all over the world that are actively looking for organizations like yours to get involved with on a skills-based volunteering level, okay? Corporate volunteering has been shifting a lot over the past 10 years. It used to be the case that corporate volunteering was a bunch of finance folks jumping on a bus and going to clean up a park on a Thursday, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's nice to have clean parks. It's great for them to get outside and do some team building, right? But what these finance folks are realizing is there's a lot more impact they could be making at an organization like yours. They could be helping you with financial forecasting or your operating budget, right? Professionals are demanding more meaningful volunteer experiences, something where they can give something that's unique to them, which is their skills, and oftentimes much more valuable than the amount of money they'd be able to donate to your organization. So that is what we do in a nutshell as an intro, connecting organizations like yours with professionals on virtual skills-based volunteering projects. And I do want to be clear, I'm going to use that word a lot today, skills-based volunteering. I've already used it a bunch so far. What I mean when I say that is that we focus on short-term, high-impact capacity building projects. So things that strengthen your organization from the inside out, allowing you to be more effective and efficient in the work that you do. So for example, it could be someone creating a donor relations letter for you, right? Or translating a document for you. It could be someone creating a marketing strategy for you, or designing a new brand, visual brand, verbal brand, a new website from scratch, right? Things, again, the inside administrative level of your organization. We don't do things like hands and hearts volunteering, where someone would come in person for an event you're hosting. We don't do programmatic volunteering, where someone would maybe tutor kids in your youth program. We specifically focus on our niche of capacity building projects, okay? Now, the way that we do that is pretty simple and straightforward. This is basically the whole thing. This is the agenda for the day. I'm going to walk you through these things. But on our site, what you're able to do is post a project, post something that you need help with, that you need assistance with, and we have people to do it. When you post it on the site, professionals then apply to that listing, just like a job posting, right? And what you're going to receive from them is, a full application, things like their resume, examples of their work, their portfolio, even testimonials and reviews from other organizations that they've worked with on the site. You could browse through a couple, you could interview them, see who you'd like to choose. Once you pick one, you get to work and they start doing the project for you. That is it. It's very straightforward. It's pretty much like anything that you've used before in the past, but I'm going to take us more in depth into each of these steps today. Before I do that, I just have a quick question. There's a poll I wanted to run here. I know, again, we've been working with this cohort for a while, but I wanted to ask, are any of you Catchafire users already? Have you used Catchafire before? Have you not? Maybe you're not sure. Please let me know in the poll. It'll help me kind of make sure I'm tailoring the content to you. A lot of no's, great. That's awesome. A lot of new people. Right on. Oh, yeah, everyone's brand new. Oh my gosh, perfect. Okay, great. So we can walk through it, and I won't feel like I'm being redundant here. That's awesome. Perfect. Awesome. So glad you're all here then. Okay, so this is the basics of Catchafire, right? And we'll go ahead and talk about it here. Oh, get rid of this here. Let's talk about how it works. There's two different ways to connect with professionals on our site, and specifically how you can get help for this giving day that's coming up, but in general, your organization, right? Because your membership's not just for May 9th, it's for, all and up until like the next year that you have access to this. It's unlimited. The two ways to connect with volunteers. Well, the first one is called 1 hour Ask an Expert calls. This is just a 1 hour phone call with a professional who's an expert in their field. So maybe you want to brainstorm with someone about your social media, right? Or, hey, we have this campaign coming up, like, how can we make it more efficient? Here's our current marketing strategy. Would love to get feedback on it. It's just a 1 hour consultation with a professional who knows a lot more than you do, or even a little bit more than you do about something that you're working on, okay? Quick and easy. The other way to connect on our site is through something we call our project menu. On our site, we have about 140 pre-scoped out projects that you can choose from to post and work on with a volunteer. The projects on our site range from about 5 to 50 hours of a volunteer's time. So on the low end, you're looking at something like, again, someone translating a document for you or an individual donor letter, right? On the far end, that's more like Salesforce database customization or website construction, more of the heavy hitter projects on our site, but nothing that we do should take longer than 3 months to complete. We specifically focus on short-term, high-impact projects. And again, we're going to go way more in depth into this menu in a bit. I'm going to show you all of this good stuff. Before we do, I want to talk about this. And this is a question I often get at the beginning of these trainings. And it's a really good question. And it's, who the heck are these people? Who are these magical unicorns that want to come work for you for free, right? The professionals in our community come from a lot of different places. So one thing that we do as an organization is we partner with large companies. We build out their skills-based volunteer programs for them, right? So Target or Amex or Microsoft or Patagonia, right? Employees from these companies are coming directly through their employer looking for cause areas they care about and organizations they want to give back to. The other massive source of volunteers for us is our partnership with LinkedIn, and that's a really big one for us. What that means is that when you post something on our site, it is posted on catchafire.org. It is blasted out to our corporate partners and their employees. It is also posted on LinkedIn's volunteer marketplace. And what's so big about that is because everything that we do and everything you're going to see today is scoped out to be completed virtually or remotely as a default. It's not just sent out in your area like it normally would be if you were to do it yourself on LinkedIn. It's actually posted all over the country. The volunteer you end up working with could come from across the street in St. Louis. They come from Chicago. They come from New York or LA. It totally depends. The idea is that we want you to find the right person for your project, not necessarily the person that just happens to be nearby. Okay. So that is the overview of what we're going to talk about today. I have tons of examples. I'm going to walk you through how to actually utilize this site. And the first thing I want to bring you to is this. This is gstlmo.catchafire.org. Actually, Emma, if you could share that in the chat for everyone, just to have the link. This is the platform that we built for Greater St. Louis, Missouri. This is for you, right? This page. When you are coming to Catchafire and you're registering for the first time, this is the site you will come to. Okay. All you will do is come to this link. You'll come down here and put in your email address and hit next. Okay. If you've been invited to this program, all your stuff will already be pre-populated, right? Your name, your organization there. And if it's not, you'll just fill it in. You hit next. It takes 30 seconds to register. And this is your account's all set. You're activated. You have unlimited access to Catchafire. It's just putting your email address in and hitting next. Okay. The reason why this is really important, right? It's because if you just Google Catchafire, right? And you go to catchafire.org and you create an account there, it will let you create an account. It's not going to let you do anything. And the reason for that is because normally organizations pay a membership to have access to Catchafire, right? This costs money to have. For you all on the line, you do not have to pay anything. Your membership is completely free and sponsored by these two foundations, the St. Louis Community Foundation and Missouri Foundation for Health. They have already paid for your membership. It is 100% free to you. You will not pay for it. You will never pay for it. This is your access to it, okay? So when you come here, registering, putting in here, and you register through this website and this portal, you're activated and you're all set and ready to go. Now, it is free, right? It's not free in the sense that someone did pay for it. It just wasn't you, which is the best kind of free, in my opinion, okay? So make sure, right, that you're coming here, taking advantage of this resource. Again, we're going to talk about the Giving Day today coming up on May 9th. There's a lot of things you can use Catchafire for that, but there's also a lot of other things you can get done at your organization beyond that as well, okay? And we're going to show you all that stuff today, all right? So registering there. Now, to walk you through the site, what I'm going to do is actually use our demo site. Okay, so this is a fake organization. It's frozen in time. So the dates are a little wonky, but I do this because I don't want to mess up anyone's actual real stuff, right, when I come to their account. So this is Kimberly J, right? I'm the executive director of a fake organization called Youth Rising. And when you've created your account and you register, this is what you're brought to. This is your dashboard. It's where you can do everything on the site. You can post new projects. You can review projects you've already posted and choose volunteers. The one thing I recommend doing first when you create your account is to add other staff members from your team onto the account. And what I mean by that is that you all on the line right now, you don't have to be the only person at your organization that utilizes Catchafire, right? You don't have to be the Catchafire person that posts everyone's stuff and they all just shovel their things to you, right? You can add as many people as you want from your organization onto the account. It could be staff, it could be trusted volunteers you've worked with in the past, it could even be board members, which I actually very much encourage, having them list projects on behalf of your org. The way to do that is very simple. Right over here, it says My Team. All you'll do is click this plus button and you put in their email address. Okay. They will receive an email from us. There's a link to click. They create their own login, their own password, and they have an account all linked to the exact organization's account that you have. Okay. The reason that I recommend doing this is because the people on here that you're matching up with, the volunteers and professionals in our community, these are not interns. These are not junior people, right, that you're kind of teaching or training things along the way. These are professionals with an average of 16 years experience, meaning they're going to have very specific questions for you about your project when you list it. So for example, we recommend that someone from your team who's posting a project to work with a volunteer should be the person on your team that knows the most about that thing, okay? And here's an example. Kimberly J is the executive director. She's probably posting more strategic projects, things like a strategic plan, right? Or a board assessment. But she probably wants someone like Jessica, who's the director of communications, to be working with a volunteer on a social media audit, because the professionals have very specific questions about what have you done in social media? What are your goals for social media, right? What are things that you want to kind of do? It's just going to save you time in the long run. It's a better experience with a volunteer to have the right person connected to, You can have multiple people working on a project with a volunteer, but I recommend the person posting the project should be the person that's going to be kind of the point person from your team. Again, you have unlimited access to this. Every single person that you add can post as many projects and as many calls as they want. This is literally the world's talent at your fingertips for the next year. Take advantage of it. Okay. So that's adding staff members. Super simple. I'll go back to my dashboard here. And the first thing I want to walk through here is how to actually post a project or call. So we're here at the dashboard, right? And we see there's a big button here and it says post a new project or call. And I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And this is going to take us to our project menu. This is kind of at the heart of what we do at Catchafire, right? What we have found over the past 14 years of doing this is that sometimes, right, as organizations, we need things so badly that maybe we don't even know how to ask for them, right? Or maybe we know exactly what we need, but we don't have time to scope out a whole RFP and go through that annoying process, right? At that point, you might as well do it yourself or pay someone to do it. We want to take that out of the equation, so we created this menu. Again, there's about 140 pre-scoped out projects for you to choose from to post and work on with a volunteer. There's a lot of different ways to browse this menu, okay? Again, I'm going to actually, I can pull the chat here. I'm going to put catchafire.org/menu. Browse it. Right? The best way to look through this is to poke around. There's 140 of these things. So I can't show you everything. I'm going to show you a lot of fun stuff today, but I can't show all of it. So check it out. Follow along if you'd like. You can, in your own time, browse it, but there's a lot of different ways. The first way is through our search bar. All you do is type in what you need, right? Maybe you want help with your website, right? So you have a giving day coming up. You want your website to look nice. A lot of people are going to be, a lot of traffic's to be headed towards it. Maybe you want to update your donate page. You want to make sure that you're funneling donors through the right space, right? So all you'll do is type in website, and we'll show you the projects that we offer: website audit, website setup, usability audit, a content plan, content audit, all these different things, right? Maybe you really want to have something with like finance, right? Flexible finance support, financial planning, business plan review. We will show you what we have here. You can search here just based on need. And as you scroll down, you can also search by category. So we have things like executive leadership, finance and operations, fundraising, HR, marketing and communications, program management, all of this stuff. Again, I'm not going to click through everything, but I encourage you to click through this as you go, right? Explore on your off time after this webinar, take a time to poke around. All of this is free and all of it is available to you, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click into fundraising here. That's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to start browsing through projects, right? So fundraising is an interesting category because fundraising is not just a fundraising plan. Fundraising, and I get this a lot with organizations on the phone. They'll be like, I need help with fundraising. And I'll be like, okay, say more, right? Because there's a lot of things there. Do you mean email marketing? Do you mean social media? Do you mean donor relations? Do you mean membership strategy? Do you mean grant writing, right? All these pieces are very separate. They're about raising money, but depending on what you're looking for, right, we can connect you with the right person to get it done. So anything from, board operations and assessments, because boards should be raising money for all of you. Make sure that they are. That is their job. Brochure graphic design, right? CRM audits and databases, copy editing, elevator pitch coaching, event concept and plans, event logistics planning, even like event slideshow creation. I love this because I don't like making decks. I hate making PowerPoints. But if you're doing like a donor event and you have things surrounding for May 9th that's coming up, having a professional come in and create an incredible like PowerPoint professional presentation for you for free, like why not, right? Having someone design a flyer for you, illustrations, impact report, graphic designs, all of these things are here. You can have someone do an assessment of your fundraising plan, right? That one's a really good recommendation as well. Partnership proposal presentation as we go through. So I'm going to click into one of these as an example. Before I do, I just want to kind of talk about the menu itself. The reason that there's a menu that you're choosing from, it's not because we want to be restrictive. We're not trying to tell you what you need or what you should do. It's because the projects that you see on this menu, we know there's enough demand for in our volunteer community, right? For example, maybe you've done something before where on your Facebook, you like, hey, I need volunteers to write blogs or something, right? And you post it up there. And then maybe you wait a month and you don't hear anybody. That's not helpful to you, because you can't plan around it. You don't know when you should just give up and do it yourself or end up paying someone to do it, right? Everything you see on this menu, we know gets matched within a reasonable amount of time. At this point, when you post one of these projects, you'll start receiving applications within a couple of days. The average match time for an organization to actually choose their volunteer is about a week. And even that can be shorter depending on how many folks you want to interview. The idea is that we're showing you things that we know we can deliver on, right? We don't want you to come here and post things. If there's projects that are being posted and not being matched or not getting applications, we take them off the menu. We want to make sure that we're not wasting your time, because your time is incredibly valuable, okay? So a lot of fun things here. I'm going to go ahead and do fundraising plan assessment. I think that's a good tip for us as we go through this. But you'll see every project on our site is, again, scoped out in a similar format. I'm just going to use this as an example, but I encourage you to click around depending on what you need. Okay. If you need a fundraising plan assessment, the average time frame, about 1 to 3 weeks after you match with the volunteer. And then we'll show exactly what it is, right? We'll tell you, what are you going to get from this project? Detailed comments and suggestions based on a thorough review of your existing fundraising plan from a fundraising expert. You need this if, what the right professional should look like in terms of experience, right? How many volunteers are actively looking for this project right now to give back to? What you're going to give in terms of capacity on your end. So how much time can you expect to spend on this project? About 1 to 3 hours. How much money you're going to save, right? Which we'll talk about a little bit later, hours saved. And then we'll take it one step further. For every project on our site, we have a step-by-step milestone roadmap that you can follow along with the volunteer to complete the project. Now, you don't have to follow this to a T. It's more of a guideline for you, but it's especially helpful if you're getting assistance with something that maybe you're not super familiar with, like Google AdWords or something, right? All this information is here. The idea is that we want to make it as simple as possible for you to come here and say, yep, I need this thing, post it. Right? So that's what projects look like. Again, check it out yourself and browse through. For this example, I'm going to go ahead and post this project right here, this big blue button. And this whole process takes about 3 minutes. It's just Mad Lib fill in the blank. We've made it very simple for you to do. Okay. The first thing is the deliverables, which we already talked about. You can also add a language proficiency requirement. So if you are predominantly a Spanish-speaking organization, you can select your volunteer to be Spanish-speaking as well. And then you can add some details if you'd like, right? Hey, look, we have an event coming up on May 9th. It's the big giving day. I'd love for someone, we have a fundraising plan. We've used it for the last couple of years. I'd love for an expert to give me an assessment on it, right? What could I be doing better? What am I missing? What are opportunities that are there? You'll fill this out and you hit next. Okay. Then we're going to show you things you should have in place, right? If you're going to have someone do an assessment of your fundraising plan, you should probably have an existing one, right? You should have the ability to provide relevant documentation or context if someone asks. Sometimes when you post something that's a little bit more involved, like a website construction, it's going to say, hey, and you need to have a content plan. You should have your logo, right? Things like that. We'll let you know the things that will make this product successful. So once you have these, like, yep, I've got this stuff, looks great. And then it's just Mad Lib fill in the blank. So we currently have an old fundraising plan, right? And we also have an eager and excited staff. You don't have to get fancy. We do a lot of the work for you, so feel free to just fill this in really basic. We hit next, and then it's just 2 questions. The first one is, why is this project important? And the idea here is we just want the volunteer to know the impact that they're making, right? In this case, a fundraising plan assessment is pretty clear what the impact is, right? You're like, look, this is our biggest fundraiser of the year. It's where we raise all of our money for all of our programs. It's incredibly important. It's just giving volunteers like the warm and fuzzies of why they're helping you out. And then what could you do with the dollars saved? So for every project on our site, we have an estimate value, and we get this from feedback from our volunteers of how much they would charge normally if they were doing this right for profit. This is an estimate. It's not like a number you'd report to the IRS. It's just for you to get an idea of, like, how valuable the project is. It helps volunteers know the impact that they make. But here, bring it back to your mission, right? Instead of having to spend $2,000 on this, what were you able to do instead? Were you able to feed, 40 families or provide so many kids with backpacks? Whatever it is that you do at your organization, just kind of, bring it back to what you do. You'll fill this out. You hit next. Oh, I got to put something here just for the demo. Right? You can add your own image, or we also have images that you can choose from if you don't have one that you like. And then you're just going to check it, right? Making sure all details are right, and your logo is right, and your face is nice. And then are there any typos? And that's it. You hit post. Once it's on the site, professionals are applying to you. You'll review the applications and choose who you want to work with, which is what I'm going to show you next. Before I do that, any questions at all so far about anything we've talked about up to this point? I'm going to browse the chat here. Let me know. Nothing so far. Anyone? We're going? All right. Well, keep them coming. If you haven't, throw them in the chat. We can pause and talk about it as we go. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and save and edit this. Save and exit
We have
this.
one question.
Oh, yes. Hit me.
Can you add more than one request?
Fatima, you can add 1,000 requests if you'd like. There is literally no limit to how many you can do. And I don't say it to overwhelm you, right? You probably don't want to post 1,000. I will tell you, I have organizations that do. I have orgs that, like, I have this one organization, Black Women Stitch. They've done like 200 projects in the last year and a half or something. They use this for everything. Everyone on their staff is constantly posting things. You can post 10 things at a time. On average, orgs do about 4 or 5 in a year, but it is completely up to you. Especially those 1-hour Ask an Expert calls, which I'll show you a little bit later. I encourage you using those for everything. Like, talk to professionals who are experts in finance or fundraising or marketing all the time, right? Why not? It's great professional development, but also it's a great networking tool. I've had people find board members and donors just from 1-hour phone calls. You can do as many as you want to. It's completely unlimited. Good question, though. All right. So let's go. We're going back to our dashboard here, and I'm going to show you how I got here. Okay. So I'm on my dashboard. So now, through the power of webinars, right, through this demo platform that we have, I already have a product that I posted. I've already received applications. The way I can do that is from my dashboard, I just go to My Projects right here, and it will show me what I've already done. So again, this is the demo site, so the dates are still frozen in time. But I have a flyer graphic design posted here, right? I posted this project, and I received applications the next day. The way that you'll know that someone's applied to your project is we will email you. You don't have to keep coming back to the site and checking. We will let you know that someone's applied. And so there's a couple applications here. Roberto and Deborah have applied. I'm going to go ahead and review their application. Very simple. Excuse me. And here's Deborah, right? And Deborah's a real volunteer on our site. This is a real person. You can see when she joined, she's done 7 projects on Catchafire. You'll see a little badge next to her name, and that's just letting you know that she's done at least 2 projects on our site and has been rated very highly by nonprofits that she's worked with. That's a nice thing to see. Keep in mind, everyone has to do their first project at some point, so don't be too biased on it, but it's nice to kind of see that she's a user in the past, okay? So the idea here is that we want to show you as much information about a volunteer before you even consider talking to them about maybe sort of helping you on the project, okay? So here's Deborah. The first thing we do is ask her if she meets prerequisites. Every project on our site has prerequisites someone must meet before even applying to the project. And then we'll ask her a couple of questions. So the first one is, why is she qualified? Why can she functionally do a flyer graphic design for you? What is her experience in that, right? The next question is, why is this opportunity exciting? So what is it about your mission or your cause that interests her? What about your region interests her, right? And depending on your organization and depending on your mission, right, you may value these answers very differently, and that's okay, right? Some organizations say, look, I want someone with at least 15 years experience to do my marketing strategy, and that's great. You can absolutely choose that person, right? Some orgs say, look, I don't care if someone has 3 or 4 years experience, as long as they're super passionate about my cause, right? Maybe they're from the community that I serve, or they've worked in that community before, right? Whatever it is up to you. No one knows better than you about who you want to work with on any of these projects, and we want to give you that choice and be able to make the choice, okay? So her bio is here, her full resume is here. She's an art director at L'Oreal. She's worked at Apple and things. And then we see testimonials and reviews. These are other organizations she has volunteered with on the site that they've given her feedback about her projects. Okay, so you can see, great, not just how Deborah is as a professional, but how is she as a volunteer? What kinds of orgs has she worked with? What kinds of things has she done, right? You see logo design, visual brand, that kind of stuff. And then her full portfolio is here as well. So you can see examples of her work. Most graphic artists on our site will have a link so you can see examples of things they've designed, right? And see what they've done. So we'll scroll up here to the top. And so here's Deborah. We have 2 options here. Let's say hypothetically, let's say you received this application from Deborah and you reviewed it and you said, you know what, Deborah's just not the right fit, right? Deborah doesn't have enough experience, or she doesn't have the right kind of experience. Or maybe you've looked through her portfolio and you were like, yeah, like the style she designs in is not really the style that I'm going for this thing. I want to be very, very clear that that is okay. It is okay to be picky when you are choosing a skills-based volunteer. Because the thing about, in fact, volunteers in general, right, is that they are not actually free. You're not paying them money, but you are paying them your time, and your time is incredibly valuable. I would even go as far as to say, if you read this application and you say, you know, Deborah's okay, maybe I'll give her a shot. I do not recommend choosing her. Okay, we have a lot of volunteers in our community, way more volunteers than projects on our site. You can afford to be incredibly picky and choosy about who you want to work with. And Deborah could be the perfect volunteer for another organization, right? If you hit pass here, we will send Deborah a very nice email for you with other volunteer opportunities. You don't have to awkwardly break up with anybody or anything. It doesn't have to be weird, right? Sometimes it's a little awkward to turn down free help. Maybe you've experienced that. I have, and it's really weird. So we take that out of the equation. Okay. In this case, Deborah seems great. She's got a great application. She's got great, examples and testimonials. But, I still do want to talk to her, right? It matters that I get along with Deborah and that we have similar working styles. So what I can do is schedule an interview with her right through the site. And all I can do is make the scheduling tool to make it very easy to connect. So I'm going to pick some times that work for me over the next couple of days, right? We're not going to work on the weekends. That's madness, everybody. I hope no one out there is working on some weekends. So here's some times. And then once you select some, you hit send availability. These times will get sent to Deborah. She'll pick one that works for her. And then at that time, our system will actually call both parties at the same time. So both of your phones will ring. You just pick it up. It's the other person. Super simple, right? It's like magic. And that first call, I mean, it's an interview, but at that point, you both know a lot about each other already. So it's basically your first working meeting. You can talk about expectations, deliverables, like how often are we going to check in with each other? Here's examples of flyers I like from other nonprofits, whatever it is, right? At the end of that call, if it's not a good fit, it's no problem. You can just hit pass. And again, we will take care of it. Don't worry about it. If it is a good fit, then both you and Deborah hit match on the site and you can get to go to work on the project. And I do just want to be really clear that at the end of this call, there is a double opt-in that must occur. Both you and the volunteers say, yes, we want to continue, and the project begins. That is a very crucial part of our process. And what I hope you're kind of seeing as I walk you through the project menu and listing and all this thing is that every step of this process is very intentional. This is something that we have been tweaking and optimizing and evolving for the past 14 years. It's literally all we think about is how can we create the most successful skills-based volunteering projects possible. Okay. Now, maybe you've had the experience. I hear this a lot of orgs have been burned in the past, right? Maybe you have an experience where your board member's son's cousin's college roommate said he would fix your website and then he just didn't, right? And that may be a real story from my life. That is not what this is, right? This is you posting something very specific that you need. A professional is applying to you because they have the skills to get it done and the time to do it. They're applying to the position. They're being interviewed for the role. And then after speaking with you about the project, they're opting in again. Every step of that process is to create, again, skills-based volunteering is something you can actually count on and plan around, as opposed to kind of just crossing your fingers and hope that it works out. Okay. So that is choosing a volunteer on this. Any questions at all about that process? If you type it in, also you can unmute, we can chat.
Hey, Tyler, it's Emily Bauman.
Hi, Emily Bauman.
Could you just go over one time, if you pass on a volunteer, what message do they receive?
They get an email from us, and it basically says, hey, this organization went with a different volunteer, but here's like 3 or 4 other organizations that need similar help.
Oh,
right?
okay. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. We let them down very nicely and easy, and it's very fluid. I mean, keep in mind too, like a lot of volunteers on our site are like power users. We have people who do, 30 or 40 projects a year themselves, and they also know that only one person gets chosen per project. So it's not like a sudden gas at their ego, right? We have, again, many, many organizations that need help, so you don't have to feel bad. It's okay. Any other questions? Anything? Okay. All right. I want to talk about 1-hour phone calls. And then I want to get into specific projects I think that I'd love you to explore and look through for this giving day that's coming up. One thing I want to talk about is calls. I mentioned before earlier that there's 2 different ways to engage on the site. One is through those project templates we just talked about. The other is through this 1-hour Ask an Expert calls. Up here at the top, you'll see this post a project thing. As you scroll down, you'll see project templates, 1-hour calls. We'll talk about bundles a little bit later. 1-hour calls are right here. And these are, again, 1-hour phone calls with a professional who's an expert in their field. You can ask anything that you want. This is my favorite thing on the site. I love this thing. You could use this for anything, everything, all the time, right? Anytime you want to talk to someone, you want to get advice on something, you want to talk to a finance expert, a fundraising expert, a marketing expert, someone who's done capital campaigns before, whatever it is, you can post it within 48 hours, connect with anybody around the world to help you, okay? Now, again, same thing with the other, there's different ways to browse this. We have examples of questions you can just steal and post, right? Things like, I want help brainstorming a layout for my annual report, right? Or I want strategic advice on social media for my organization, right? You can steal these questions. You can select it by category, so brand messaging or communications or finance, AI, which if you all aren't like dabbling and messing around with ChatGPT or AI, I highly recommend talking to someone. They can make it very, very simple for you. And it's a matter of when, not if, with AI. It's not going away, everybody. And organizations, I think the quicker that you're kind of adapting this and realizing that you never have to write another email ever again, definitely should be exploring this. Highly recommend it. But data analytics, human resources, things like that. Okay. Now, for this example, I'm actually going to write my own question, which is right up here. And I'll walk you through what that looks like. Again, just like projects, it's templated. It's very simple to do. And we basically do everything for you. So the first thing is select the topic, right? So maybe you want to talk about, I don't know, let's say brand messaging, right? Maybe, or let's say communications, right? You have this giving day coming up and you want to make sure that, how soon should I be getting people excited about it? When should I be talking to folks about the giving day and getting them hyped up? Is it too early now? Right? Should I be setting the stage? You should have a question. You want to talk to a communications expert about that. So just like communications, again, we'll show you there's 29,000 people actively on the site looking for this call right now. And then what do you want to do, right? Do you want to get feedback? Do you want to brainstorm ideas? Do you want to ask a specific question? In this case, I think we want to ask a specific question, right? So we'll help you start it, right? I'd like some help with, right? In this case, it's like, we have a giving day coming up. I want to know, like, when should I start communicating to my donors? Like, what's the earliest or latest I should about the giving day, and making sure everyone's really excited, because you want to build excitement, but you don't want to be too early because then it kind of dies down by the day of, right? It's a good question. It's something that, again, I think is actually hard to Google. And that's why I really love these calls. And I'll share my experience. At my nonprofit, when there were things I didn't know how to do, I just Googled it, right? Like, I want ideas about my next fundraising event, whatever. And what ends up happening is you find these like super generic blogs that are like, you should do a 50-50 raffle, right? It's like, not, you're like, okay, maybe, right? It doesn't really work with what I'm doing. It's just not specific, right? If you want to know what printer you should buy, you're going to get a bunch of weird stuff on Google about like, Hewlett Packard sponsored websites that are like, Hewlett Packard is the best. You just don't know what you're getting, right? So talking to someone like about a specific thing, like talking to someone like, look, this is my region, this is my budget, this is my strategy, what should I do, is so valuable, right? So you post in what you call, and like, let's say you're not sure, right? You're not sure what to say. We'll show you examples of calls that we just recently matched between other organizations and other volunteers, right? So maybe you see one that says like, I want help with developing our email marketing strategy. And you're like, yes, that's exactly what I need, right? Just click it and you can copy it and it's yours, right? Save yourself 30 seconds from writing it. We have tips about how to write a good question, right? All that stuff is there. You can add details if you'd like. You don't have to. Again, you can add your language requirement if you'd like, and you hit post. Again, this thing takes about a minute to do. This works just like a project. What we just saw earlier, when you post this thing, professionals apply to it, just like we saw before. The only difference is the call that you schedule for the interview, that is this call, right? You're not going to interview someone for a 1-hour phone call. That'd be pretty redundant. Again, these are my favorite things on the site. Not only are they great for like getting things done, but also I have a lot of organizations that use it as like professional development for junior staff members, right? Having people who are maybe interns or AmeriCorps volunteers on your team, being able to talk to, like, find mentor-mentee relationships, talking to someone who's an expert in marketing or an expert in communications can just be so valuable for them to learn from. So highly recommend this. The other thing I like about this too is for 1-hour phone calls, it's a great way to start with Catchafire. So there are some people on the line right now that are like, I'm going to go post 20 things, right? Like Fatima is going to go post 1,000 projects, right? That's great. Go for it. Like, no one's stopping you. Please go for it. If you're not sure, if you're like, I don't know, how would I even use, I have so many things, I need everything. Start with a 1-hour phone call. The biggest advice I can give you is like, once you just start using this, you're going to start seeing these things everywhere, right? When you're in a staff meeting and people are talking about the annual report coming up, or the marketing materials we need to set up for this thing, or our brochure's out of date, you're going to be like, oh, we can have a Catchafire volunteer do that. They can literally do everything. So starting with a 1-hour phone call, a nice way to get started as you go through. Okay. So that's 1-hour calls. I'm going to show some examples now, right? Let's talk about some examples, and then I'll show you specific things I recommend posting on the site. So I went through this page. This is gstlmo, right? .catchafire.org/impact/stories. And this is literally every match happening in real time. Oh, I'm way far pages here because I'm filtered. Hang on a second. I filtered it by testimonials and fundraising. But we can go here. So you can see every match happening in real time. Those last couple of days, these are organizations in St. Louis, just like you, who are here. We're getting things done, right? Things like translation, communications call, website usability audit, social media calls. And so I pulled some examples of like, these are good projects you can think about for May 9th as it comes up. But this is an example of the kinds of volunteers in our community. So this is Lily M. She's from DeSales Community Development, and she posted for an individual donor letter, right? Having someone who is a professional copywriter or fundraiser writing donor letters for you, right? Why not have someone do that for you? They matched up with Peggy, right? So they're looking for someone to write individual appeal letters for them. And here's Peggy. Peggy is a retired marketing professional with over 35 years experience. She leads the annual stewardship campaign for the church that she works at for the last 8 years. She's done everything, right? She knows her stuff. So she matched up with Lily. Peggy was amazing. She was a great listener and really learned. She leveraged this knowledge into impeccable donor letters. Okay. Why not have someone come and do this for you? Okay. Another example, so this is St. Louis area diaper bank. So they match up with our marketing strategy consultation with Lindsay, right? This is back in January, a couple months ago. Lindsay, they want to acknowledge and celebrate their 10 years as an organization. So they want to tell stories about those things. And again, if you're thinking about your campaign that you're going to be doing coming up on May 9th, having a marketing professional with, Lindsay, she's worked with nonprofits for over 15 years. She worked with different communities. She's been doing this for 12 years as a consultant. And so she wanted to volunteer this organization. She did, right? Marketing strategy consultation, having someone come and just look at your strategy, give you tips and tricks, because we just don't know what we don't know. And as I mentioned earlier, like, it is not easy working in this sector. Again, we have to be experts. And the thing is funny to me is, 10 years ago, when I was at my nonprofit, like, I remember my executive director saying to me, like, oh, Tyler, like, we want our things to look nice, right? Like our materials and our donor asks, we want them to look nice, but we don't want them to look too nice, right? Because then people will think we have money, right? So it's kind of a balance of this thing. And I can tell you, like, that is not a thing anymore. The expectations for organizations is now through the roof. Like, with the virtual digital age, like, you are now like on May 9th, but even beyond, you're now competing with organizations all over the world for donor dollars. It used to be the case that you and the library down the street were competing. Now it is literally every organization that exists on the planet are competing for the same money. And so it matters that you have a nice website. It matters that you have nice things, right? It matters that your invitations are nice. It matters that your brand is cohesive in all these pieces. But it's not like we suddenly all have a bunch of unrestricted funds lying around. Right? There's no nonprofit I talk to that's like Scrooge McDuck, like jumping through their gold piles of coins. We're all struggling. And so this can really help leverage the playing field, especially when you're competing with much larger nonprofits than you for the same dollars. It can help level that playing field. Okay. So marketing strategies, that's a great example. Social media call. I'm going to show an example of a social media audit in a bit. But again, when you're coming up for a giving day, right, your social media strategy can make or break how much money you're going to make. It's about how you're engaging with your audience and how you're finding new audience members. Okay. So this is Cornerstone Center for Early Learning. Again, part of the same program as all of you in St. Louis. And they want to just feedback on our current social media practices, right? Super straightforward. They matched up with Jennifer. Jennifer is a professional, 15 years experience with social media. That's what she's been doing for her career, right? Matched up with them. She provided wonderful insight, suggestions to help improve our digital presence. This is just a 1-hour phone call, right? Match up with Jennifer. Jennifer's done 17 projects on our site. You can review her profile, review what she's done, kind of see the things that's on here, okay? So that's a good example too. Well, I'll show you some examples of social media things in a bit. And then this is Tom. So this was just matched last month. But this is Felicia at Freddie Ford Family Foundation. So she matched with Tom on an organizational strategy call. And when they just want to shout out here, like, they were looking for feedback on their current mission and vision. At this point, I mean, you're 2 months out from this giving day. So, I don't know if you're all changing your mission and vision right now, right? Maybe if you're interested in that, like, that's a great project to post, but it's a little bit, late before you kind of launch things. But I just want to show Tom because Tom is so funny to me. Tom was, he was the chief planning officer at the CDC in Atlanta. Okay. So Tom has been in the sector for his entire career, right? He knows everything about everything. And he's done a lot of stuff on our site. He's a the dollar's impact has overtaken the time given here. Actually, I just talked to my tech team about this, but that's kind of where Tom is, right? We have a lot of professionals like this, people who are retired nonprofit professionals, people who work in foundations for a long time that are giving back in this way. And so that's the kind of people that we're talking about here, right? Tom was excellent to work with, engage in conversation, ask great questions, provided excellent feedback. Those are just examples of the kinds of people that are on here that you can match up with. Again, this is all free to you. And, to me, as a nonprofit, right, your network is your lifeblood. So one thing to consider is a little bit meta, right? On one hand, it's nice to get things done, right? We can have people help you with your digital marketing strategy, creating graphics for you, infographics, helping with your social media, whatever it is. But also consider that the people who you're matching up with, they can all be future donors, right? These are professionals who are interested in your cause. They know you now, and they have disposable income, right? They're literally your target market for your giving day. You should be sending it out to them, your links for donating. You should be having them send it to their networks, right? I've had volunteers end up becoming, again, board members or donors, or again, sometimes employees of the nonprofits that they are working with, right? The relationship that you build with these folks is completely up to you. We make it very structured and simple, but I mean, that's really the end game, right? Is like getting to know Tom. Who does Tom know? Who can he connect you with, right? That's the game that we all play. Okay. And then that's, again, we get the idea. Flexible graphic design support. I love this project too. We have these projects on the site that are called flexible, and it has a thing. And basically what that means is it's someone, a graphic designer, who will just do flexible graphic design support for you for the next 4 weeks. So let's say you have like an event coming up, right? Or again, like a big campaign in May, right? Having a designer come and be like, great, we need invitations for the event. We need things that need to be at the center of the tables. We need forms to donate to. We want them all designed by the same person. Great. Post it as a flexible graphic design support. Talk to someone like Cassandra, who again is a career marketing professional, and have her create things for the next 4 weeks for you. You have now a free graphic design consultant for the next month. Okay. Love that for this. Right. Any questions at all so far? Keep going.
Yes, I have a question. How you doing, Tyler? This is Monica Peterson. I'm the NARC coach with the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Center.
Hi, Monica.
Hi, Tyler. Who was the person at the beginning who you were talking about formerly worked at a church, and I can't remember.
Peggy.
Okay.
Peggy B.
Peggy B. Okay. So then how did you say we find these people?
Yeah. So when you post a project or call on the site, these people apply to your projects, right? So we have a community of over 100,000 volunteers that are actively looking for projects. And then when they apply, you choose who you want and you interview them for the role, and then they're yours.
Okay. So we can't go pick them, they apply.
So when you post a project, that's a great question. When you post a project on the site, I'll show you what this looks like. What's the best way to do that? Put my overview dashboard here. So when you post a project on the site, and I want to be careful how I talk about this, because it's always like, I don't want people to think they have to do this, but when you post something, you will start receiving applications. Right? We're doing all the work on the back end with our algorithms and sending out to the right people, matching cause area and skill set to the right people. We're doing all that work. But if you want to be proactive about it, right? Maybe you're like, I really want to, I want to be able to see who's available. There's a button here when your project's posted. This is live. There's a button that says request volunteers. Sometimes the demo is a little bit, doesn't like when I do this, but let's see if this works here. The demo's not going to like it. So basically here, what it will show you is these are volunteers in our community that we recommend, right? Based on they've done this project before, they've worked in this cause area before and have the skill sets that you're looking for. We'll even show you ones that are more local. You can show nearby, like local volunteers who are interested. And then you can select them and invite them to apply to your project. You can do that for as many people as you want. I recommend doing this. It just makes it, your match time is going to be faster. But I always want to be clear, you don't have to do this. It's not extra work you have to do, but you can browse through and select who you'd like to see your project and apply to it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. No problem. It's a great question. Any other questions? I pause here.
Tyler, it's Emily B again. I had dropped a question in the chat, but you kind of answered it already. I just wasn't sure if you were sort of showing us an admin view on the projects and their feedback, who did what, how much money they saved, but it seems like that's definitely something that the nonprofits can browse, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yep. I'm logged in as myself right now, obviously, but when you are logged into the site, if you come to your landing page, you should click on impact at the top and click on stories, and you can see all these things here. Anyone can see this. And if you go, like, you want to see a fun thing? I'll show you all a fun thing here. If you go to just catchafire.org/impact, you can see our entire community. And this, I again, if you know what you want, you can go ahead and start posting it and getting on it. But I like to, if you're curious about like what are other orgs posting, right? Like what should I use this for? How should I kind of frame things? This is catchafire.org/impact/story. So this is every match happening in real time on our site. This is what, today, March 5th. This is today. This is today. This is today, and it goes on for 3,900 pages, right? On average, we do like 120 matches a day. You can click in and you can filter this by, right? Any of these you click into, you can see all the information I just showed you, which is like, what did the organization ask for? What kinds of volunteers applied to it, right? That matched, right? You can filter by cause area. So maybe you work in education, right? And you want help with, I don't know, let's say digital marketing, right? You can see, okay, what are other education organizations posting on Catchafire and matching with volunteers on regarding digital marketing? So Google Ads campaign support, social media content calendar. Here's a perfect example for an event, right? I would strongly recommend this project. If you have this giving campaign coming up, having a really set social media content calendar so you know what you should be posting and when over the next 2 months, right? Matched up with Heidi here. Here's Sydney. This just matched today or yesterday, I guess. And you can see, okay, cool, this is education org. They're similar to us. What did they ask for? 4 weeks of scheduled content ready to post. They matched up with Heidi. She has 6 years experience in the marketing field, and they just matched yesterday, right? So it's a nice way to kind of see like what are other orgs using, right? Orgs like me that are utilizing this. Another example I want to show, so these are actual deliverables. And I just pulled 2 random ones. This is, oh, I spoiled it here. This is an organization, I love this because they sent me a before and after, and I got this like last week. So this was an infographic they had that they would send out to people in their emails. So they had made this, someone on their team who, someone like me who was the marketing director at their organization, which means that I used to mess around with Photoshop in college. So I was the marketing director, right? That is a very rich experience we all have. They created this infographic. They've been using it for years. They posted on Catchafire for someone to like take this information and put it into an actual better infographic for them. And a Catchafire volunteer came and created this for them, right? This is about their program, step by step. It's beautiful, right? An infographic is supposed to make things much more clear. It's supposed to be like a visual representation for someone to be able to follow along. And this was now designed for them by a Catchafire volunteer, right? Another great example, and I love this project too for you all, is a social media audit. So this is Kuakanaka, really awesome organization in Hawaii. I've been out there and met them, and they're incredible people. They're focused on preserving the Hawaiian language. They had someone do a social media audit for them. This is a project I would recommend doing before May 9th for you all. And basically what this is a social media expert comes and goes over your entire social media for you, right? And they spread it out. So they will go through, here you go, browser. Okay, so platform presence, right? They'll go through and find, okay, how many followers on Instagram, how many followers on Facebook, the average reactions to a post, the engagement rate. They can find all this data for you. And then they say, like, what were the top posts for each one? Like, what are the ones that got the most engagement? What should we be looking at in terms of what people like? Then they show insights, right? Likes and shares are pretty consistent across posts. There's not enough comments. Text graphics outperform article shares. Like, they will do this full audit for you. Because a lot of us who are doing social media, sometimes it just feels like we're sending things off into the void, right? It's like, is this good? Am I doing too much? In general, I think orgs are probably posting too much stuff. In general, that's what I see. Sometimes that's not the case, but I think a lot of us are thinking we have to be on social media constantly, and you really don't. It's more so about engagement, right? Am I getting people to click on stuff? Am I getting people to comment or like those things? That matters a lot more than just pumping out content 24/7. Okay, so then they do a full audit of your audience, right? Who is your audience, right? In this case, for their org, it was young adults and teens, right? It's ages 16 to 29, Gen Z and young millennials. What do they like? What are the opportunities there? The community on Facebook, how they're different, right? On Facebook, it's different. Ages 30 plus, older millennials, Gen X and boomers, right? What do they want to see on their posts? And then recommendations, right? What should your tone and voice be on Instagram and Facebook? What copy should you be posting? What cadence should you be posting 1 to 3 times per week? So having a professional come in and again, do this social media audit for you for free is so valuable because from this, you could say, hey, we're not doing enough posts with graphics on them. So that's a project you can post, right? Have someone create social media graphics for you that you can add now into your social media content calendar that maybe you have another volunteer create for you, okay? So I love this as a example of something that you can do for this giving day coming up for sure. Okay. All right, so what I want to send out here, and again, any other questions, please hop in and let me know. I want to show you something else, and it was bundles. I mentioned it really earlier. So from our dashboard here, post about it, here we have templates and calls. There's this bundles button. Now, bundles are collections of projects that help you achieve a larger goal. Okay. So for example, right, if you want your annual report done, an annual report is a lot of things, right? It's rare that you just have one person do your entire annual report, right? Because the annual report is a lot of things. It's the data crunching, it's the storytelling, the case study writing, the actual graphic design of it, right? The letters to tell people about it, right? The marketing campaign to make sure people are seeing it. It's all these different pieces together. And we'll show you what projects we recommend posting in what order to complete the larger thing. You don't have to do them in this order. You may have a couple of these things, but really need someone to help you with storytelling. It's up to you, but we'll show you those things. For this example for you all, I want to talk about this bundle, okay? It is. Oh, it might not be on the demo site. Hang on. Hang on a second. Let's go to the actual sites. It's on the real, it'll be on your site, but the demo site sometimes, like when we change things or edit things, it doesn't always, it updates on like once a week. So it just might be a little bit. So we'll go to our bundles here on the real site. And we'll show you here. Okay, here we go. So this is the live page of bundles here. And so here, fundraising campaigns and appeals. Okay, so I'm going to link this to you all in the chat. This is the bundles we recommend. So if you're doing a fundraising campaign or appeal, these are projects we recommend thinking about doing, right? Over the next 2 months that you have. Again, the average match time is about a week and a half. So posting these as soon as possible, you're going to have more than enough time to get these and be valuable for your program. So things like data visualization, right? Data crunching and analysis, infographics, impact report, graphic design, branded digital assets. This is what I mentioned earlier. If you have someone do a social media audit for you, or you know you need more things to post, right? More than people engage, people love graphic things. Having someone create branded digital assets for you, okay? Having someone create your email marketing strategy, marketing copywriting, the templates for those things, writing the actual letters for you, even a thank you letter, right? Do you have thank you letters for all of your donors coming up on May 9th when they donate to you? Do you have a letter that not only thanks them, but also encourages them to stay in touch, encourages them to volunteer, encourages them to do other things, right? As I always said in donor relations, right? The first donation is the beginning of the relationship. It is not the end, right? So it is a thank you and. Okay, elevator pitch coaching. If you are doing a live event, a webinar, stream, or anything, in my opinion, everyone at your organization, including board members, should be able to tell a 2-minute pitch of what your mission is and what your organization is. Because fundraising doesn't just happen quarterly; it happens all the time. It happens in meetings. It happens at events. It happens everywhere. You should be able to pitch an amazing story about your organization at a moment's notice. We have incredible pitch coaching people on our site that volunteer all the time for reasons like that. And again, social media content calendar, I highly recommend. This is a collection of projects. Again, for you on the line, like these are projects that are focused on this giving day coming up. You can get these things done. That's great. But keep in mind, Catchafire is a lot of things. There's also things like change management coaching, leadership coaching, Excel training, other things at your organization that you might need to benefit from. But obviously, it's more centered around this thing coming up in 2 months. So that is Catchafire. It is gstlmo.catchafire.org. My advice is just post something today, literally. And I say that because I love facilitation. I love learning about how to facilitate an adult learning and all these things. I'm just a big geek about that. And one thing I always think about is I learned this thing a long time ago, which was it's called the rule of 72. And the rule of 72 is something that facilitators and educators use in adult learning. And what it means is that as an adult learning something new, if we don't utilize it within 72 hours or 3 days, there's like an 80% chance less than we'll ever do it, right? And that feels right? There's a billion things happening in our organizations and our lives. It's an election year, for gosh sakes, man. There's a lot of stuff going on. If this is something you're interested in, it can be normal to be like, oh, this is great, awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely get started on this in a month. I can tell you that you probably won't. I have so many organizations that email me all the time that are like, oh my God, I just got started. I wish I had started 6 months ago though. And I'm like, I'm glad that you got started, but I wish you did too, right? Because there's a lot of things that you're missing out on. gstlmo.catchafire.org. Register. It's free for you. Someone paid for it. Use this thing. Take your campaign to the next level, everybody. Even if you have all of your stuff ready, have someone take a look at it, right? Have 3 professionals take a look at it. That advice is so valuable. And again, it's not just about getting the things done. These people that you match up with over the next 2 months can end up becoming donors for your campaign, right? It's all about meeting the right people and networking. Thank you so much. And Pamela, you mentioned ask for a link for the recording. There will be a recording out if Emily wants to talk about where that recording will be.
Here we are. Yes. Hello. Emily Seipel had to come over here because her computer died. The recording is going to be posted on the Give STL Day website. We'll have that up by the end of the day today. Tyler, thank you so much. This was so great, super helpful, and obviously incredibly thorough because we had very few questions in the chat. I just wanted to give everybody another invitation to, if you have any questions for Tyler, go ahead and come off mute, let him know. I think someone might be raising their hands. Oh no, that's clapping. We've got some clapping happening, so that's great.
One thing I'll just share here too, any questions that you have. So, and this will take us here. Part of the service that we provide, so not only with all this stuff that I just talked about, but we actually have nonprofit advisors on our staff, right? Everyone has at least a decade of experience in the sector in different specialties of fundraising or marketing. You can schedule a call with us whenever you want to, as many times as you want to. We will do a full needs assessment with you. Email us at help@catchafire.org, or you can scan this QR code and just schedule a meeting with us tomorrow if you'd like. We'll help you think about I have all these things I want to do, right? A lot of times the biggest question is I need everything. Where do I start, right? get on the phone with us. We will talk to you about, hey, what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish? What do you already have in place? And we'll help you recommend what projects to post right now. So again, if you're ready, go post, get ready. If you have more questions, you can always reach out to us, help@catchafire.org, and talk to us. We'd love to help. Awesome. But other than that, if there's no more questions, thank you all so much for having me, and good luck, everybody, on this Giving Day. So exciting. Yeah, and I'm excited to see all of your projects on the site really soon. Thanks, everybody.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Tyler. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and have a great rest of your Tuesday. Bye.
Thank you.